Hi everyone, Nathan Rickney here from NGR Accounting, and today we have two people to present to us regarding, I guess, navigating through the coronavirus. And we've got Michael de Haan. If you just give us a hello and a hi there so people know it's you, Michael.
How you going, everyone?
Hey, and we've also got so Michael's in the space from Care to Grow, and he's in the space of financial wellness. And we've also got Cole Neate and from Cole Neate Associates, and he's a business executive coach. Cole, give us a hello there.
How are you, mate? Thank you. Thanks for having us.
That's all right. Thank you for coming along. So we're just going to jump straight into it, guys. And I guess, look, what we're going to be talking about today is a few things, but where I wanted to start was discussing the current climate that we're facing and why it's important to start thinking about and planning about the future, regardless of your current business position, being the door, whether the door's open or closed, and just sort of let us know. I guess first of all, I'll start with you, Cole, and what can we look at with your coaching services during this period?
Well, look, I appreciate the intro, and as I said, thanks for having me along. You know, it's unprecedented times. It's a word that's been bandied around a lot in the media. A lot of people are saying it, but it really, really is. And I think people are just trying to come to grips with what this new norm is going to be. What is the new normal? Or what is the new way of life? Because I think there's going to be multiple challenges out there that are going to, well, they're almost going to be testing the limits of how we think, how we actually make decisions. But I suppose that's not the challenge is not necessarily what's going to define us. I think it's how we come away from that, how we rise from that, that's going to give us those best results.
Some great points there. And Michael, like in particular with money mindset, just addressing that, you know, how can we sort of think about money mindset and why is that important during, I guess, the current climate now?
Yeah, good question. And I endorse Cole's comments around, it is around how you're sort of dealing with it and how you come out the other side, which we all will. Well, I suppose I want to share with you that this is a health pandemic, but it's become a financial pandemic, and that's people are more stressed around the financial side generally than the health. That's what the stats are showing. So there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of fear out there, and people are so uncertain they feel as if they've got no control. Yeah. So that's what we're sort of facing. That's the emotive side in regard to how people are sort of feeling every day. And what that's doing is it's sort of creating a flight or fight in people, sort of which shuts down the immune system and pumps the sort of blood out to your extremities, so your hands and your feet, so everyone's got a bear behind them, you're sort of running away from that. And what I suppose my concern or what I'm seeing is that in itself is not supporting you in regard to, one, your health or your financial situation. So, and in a sense, that can be self-fulfilling, where you're actually, as I said, got that stress there, you're making decisions based on an emotional side, you're not rational in your decisions there. So I think I'd just like to put that out there in regard to what I'm seeing, because then what are some issues or what are some tips that people can do differently? And it is around mindset and things that they can look at differently in regard to how to move through this, how to navigate through this, and how to come out the other side with a really good mindset and probably know a bit more about themselves, to be honest.
So I think that's a really good point that you make there, Michael, because I think what we're definitely seeing here is it's not necessarily about changing the person that you are. It's just looking at, whilst this has come at us with a mighty flurry, it's just how can we actually tap into some of that information, those people around you, those support areas that can really start to just put you at ease in some areas. So unless that way you can go out there and challenge the existing fixed mindset, you know, and also build up on that belief that you can build we can actually get through this. But I think it's also times when it becomes all-consuming and it can become quite challenging for a lot of people. But it's to say, well, look, it is what it is at this particular point, and it's a term that you hear a lot. Take that on board, and at least that way, when you do have some space, we can actually start to look at how you can drive those next phases or those next stages of where you need your business or where you need yourself to be.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys. Look, I absolutely agree, and I mean, I'm seeing with my clients, you know, look, I think a lot of my clients are in one or two places, or probably three places actually. They're either completely closed down and the business is shut and done for the moment, or they're kind of in a bit of a limbo, you know, in between both spots, or they're still going and they're going gangbusters because of the situation. But you know, I guess if you're point one or point two, it's you know, it's time to sort of stop being, you know, panicking, fear, and it's probably time to start sort of looking at how you can reassess and use this downtime in a positive way to bring yourself out stronger than what you were when you went into this before. I guess when things were rosy, probably in January or before that. But if I look at just your experience, what sort of panic and fear are you seeing out there, Michael?
Well, I think it's fair to say, as I said, there was stress and panic before this, Nathan. So Australians are 50% financially stressed before this came along. So it's just heightened that stress and that panic feeling. So people overall weren't in a great financial position in a sense in regard to how they felt. And this has just exaggerated it. So I think what we've got to learn is how to manage stress and the anxiety. So it's really around what we're doing health-wise. So a lot more people are isolated now. So, and what I'm starting to hear, which is probably a bit concerning, is that people are sort of drinking a bit more. They're not looking after their diet. So again, it's really, these are things we can control, Nathan. So we can actually just say, well, I'm going to be on a good diet, so I'm going to eat well while I'm going through this phase there. I'm going to drink lots of water. We had our first online gym session this morning. It was on Zoom, and a funny story where we had a couple that didn't realise that they were being on Zoom. They were being watched, and they were just sitting there watching us do a workout. It was about halfway through, and then the trainer didn't say anything. And then about halfway through, the trainer said, "You can get involved whenever you want." And their faces went bright red because they didn't think they could be seen. So it was a bit of a laugh there. But again, you know, life does go back to normal, and just the things that you can do. And it's really even meditation. You know, I didn't meditate until sort of a year ago, 18 months ago. Deep breathing. I've learned a skill where, and I'd love to share it, where, you know, a lot of times when you make decisions out of sort of fear and that subconscious, which a lot of us are doing at the moment, and you might ask me a question, Nathan, that I feel a little bit unsure of, or I don't feel comfortable with, what I do is I either take 2 deep breaths, or I would say to you, Nathan, that's a great question. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm letting that come into my conscious. I'm letting that come to my rationale before I answer it. So it's given me 3 or 4 seconds to actually come back with a good response. I'm not reacting. I've thought about it. And that's what people should be doing anyway. So I think that we're going to find some great learnings, some great little tips like that to help people along this way, but going forward in their life anyway.
Cole, what about I guess your knowledge of you know, I guess, I mean, like I've personally done some coaching with you, and you've helped highlight, you know, I guess my pinpoints and helped me rediscover me and made me a better business person. But I guess how can you use the skills you use with me, and probably there's a whole other host of skills that you have to you know, those concepts to help businesses get through this tough period?
Look, it's a great question, and I'm going to probably answer it by asking you a question. What have been some of the key points?
Hey, this is not a coaching session for me. I'm in control here.
It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But look, I want to throw it back at you and just say, look, you know, because again, when we first started to have some of those communications and started to go through, it was one of those things of building up that trust that had to be that two-way stream or two-way street. But all of a sudden, once there's been a couple of key points that you identified in yourself, it became, well, some things became a lot clearer. Maybe there were some examples that you can give that, you know, without going necessarily into all the ins and outs, but some of the key points that you were able to highlight.
Look, you put me on the spot here, but like I'll answer it best I can. But definitely, I think that, I mean, I've always said with Cole, I do this thing where I'm on a wheelie chair here. Like I actually twitch through my sessions, and because he makes me uncomfortable. But like, you know what? It's because he's drawing that information out of me, and then it's just like this light bulb moment where it's just like, and you go away, and I go back and I tell my staff about my session. I'm very open about everything that I do. It's almost like a counselling session for business owners, right? And I tell them about my session, and Belinda, my practice manager, she goes, geez, you always get so much out of Cole when you see him. But I think the latest thing that we've been working on is just really highlighting me as a business person and how I can better serve my clients. And it's probably, I guess, what we've really highlighted, or Cole's helped highlight or made me realise, is that for me to best serve my clients, I've got to be true to myself and how, I guess, my personality traits are, and, you know, use them as a positive way to help my clients. And for me, I guess those who don't know me, or do know me rather, people do know me, they know that I can be pretty upfront and direct. And I'd say probably over the last 5 years, being in business, being an owner, being probably afraid of losing clients, I've actually pulled that back a lot, and I'm probably in a lot more control of my tongue. But in some ways, I need to tell clients what they need to hear, and sometimes the advice I give clients is not pretty. It's not pretty at all. But we give them that advice so that they can move forward, and that's why they come to an accountant. They come to an accountant because they want to hear, you know, I guess exactly what they need to hear. And unfortunately in life, we don't always hear what we want to hear. So so that's probably one of my latest light bulb moments, and I'm changing the way I sort of advise. And the feedback I'm getting from clients is they just love it. They don't like being told what they have to do, but they love it because they know that to go forward, they need to make the tough decisions.
Yeah, and I think that's a really, really good point, and it ties in beautifully with like the current situation. There's a lot of things we don't want to hear a great deal about COVID-19, but it's not changing the person that we need to be or want to be. It's just changing those surroundings, because you're still going to strive to be that person that you want to be. But it's just looking at, what do I need to do differently, or how do I need to get to this particular point, you know, without necessarily sacrificing the inner you. So, no, without a doubt, I know that there's been a couple of instances where you have been uncomfortable. But to your point, that's when we learn the most, when it does sort of rock the foundation. And this is exactly what's happening in the current environment.
So I guess lastly, this is a bit of from both sides, from the wellness side and the coaching side, Michael and Cole, just using that experience and that knowledge that you have, those negative experiences that a lot of businesses are going through at the moment, you know, what advice can you give those clients and to turn, I guess, this negative experience into a positive experience? What would you, what's your number one piece of advice for someone to think about? Like, how would you go about seeing clients? How are you helping them through this process?
And I think I'll start, Cole, if that's all right. So it's
Go for it.
And it's just around planning that next to 6 to 9 months. We know it's here, so we know that's what we're up against. So looking at what's the worst scenario, putting that out there, and ideally meeting with you, Nathan, or meeting with your key advisors. What's the likelihood of it happening? Who can I reach out to plan? What's the strategy around that? What am I entitled to? Be on the front foot with this. That takes away a lot of that stress and that anxiety. If you're on the front foot, you're communicating, you're reaching out there, and you're telling people your story. That there's just so much support, love, and assistance out there at the moment through accountants, coaches, and even myself around the money mindset. So you just got to reach out. It's not a time for egos. It's a time for people to actually say, I need help. And there's just so many people ready to help. So tell your story, tell it early, and get the right people around you. It's really, I had a great, someone that sort of supports me said a great saying, said, this is simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me. I know what to do, but it's not easy. And that's me showing up, going out, asking. I'm not great at asking. So we all know what to do, all the steps that will support us. It's not easy, but let's put us out there because, you know, everyone's here to help.
I think it's also like, I mean, often we refer to it, like I like the 1%ers. You know, if you do 10 things differently, that's a 10% change right there. And just in business, I mean, like when I was at Woolworths the other week, I had a trolley full of groceries, and this lady behind me, she had 4 items, and I was like, you know what? How about you go in front of me and just get what you've got? The items are in her hand there. She hasn't got a basket. And it's like, look, you just go in front and look, it'll take you 2 minutes. Reality is, my whole trolley is going to take about 10 minutes to process. So go in front. But I think it's the 1%ers, it's being kind to each other and just being there for each other, and you know, helping the human race get to the end of the line. What do you think, Cole?
Look, there's a lot of things, and this is an absolute key one that's out of our control. And we can't control what's happening outside our parameters. But there's the things that, to your point and to Michael's point, was looking at those things that you can control. And that's your mindset. You know, it's also looking at, give yourself some space, give yourself some time. Because as I said, it's coming to grips. We may not necessarily know right here, right now, what the new norm is going to be. But then you just look at how quickly we can adapt. I.e., all of a sudden now, when we're not doing the face-to-face or person-to-person, we're using a lot more examples with Zoom meetings. We're doing a lot more trying to identify. Michael was also talking about the online gym session this morning. So there's all these different things, but it's giving yourself some space and allowing yourself some space without losing sight of the real you.
Fantastic advice. Well, I guess we've come to, I think, the end of our podcast here. But any final notes? Anything else you want to add, guys?
All good. Just be kind to yourself.
Love it. Well,
yeah.
All right. And
we don't do that. We don't do that often enough. So I think it's good words.
Well, that's it. Well, I think I'm gonna leave on that note. Everyone, thank you for joining us today. And before we go, Cole and Michael, if anyone in our audience has viewed this today, wants to reach out to you, how can they go about doing that? We've got a website. We've got contact numbers. I mean, I can probably put the contact numbers in the comments when we post this, but website, Facebook page, or anything like that, we can refer them to.
Yeah, so my website's care to grow, caretogrou.com.au. I'm happy to do discovery meetings. There's no cost there, just to get people starting to talk, people starting to reach out. So you can actually request a meeting via the website. That's probably the best way to contact me.
And I guess with Cole, we can get you on an email as well. I think we can share that.
Yep, it's Cole at coleneate.com.au. So feel free to give me that, and I'm more than happy to have a chat. Because again, at least that way, it's building up that trust and building up that connection before you actually move further.
Yeah. All right. Great. Well, have a fantastic day, and good luck to everyone. And look forward to continuing the conversation. I can only highly recommend both Michael and Cole. I've known them both for a very long time. They are experts in their profession, and definitely worthwhile having a discussion with. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we look forward to seeing you in our next podcast.
Thanks for your time, buddy.
Thanks, Nate. Thanks, Cole.